Oh, it's good to be back.
I know, it's been a minute.
Hello,
Lot.
everyone.
Hi. Lots to
Welcome.
discuss.
Lots to discuss. Welcome back to the It's a Wonderful podcast YouTube channel for the fun talking of recent things in movies, because isn't it all very exciting? It's October. It's the time for horror movies, Janine, as we all know. As we all know. And there was a pretty significant horror sequel that came out this week. So we're here. We're going to be talking mainly about that today. Thinking what's going to come next for the Halloween movies in their third and final installment of this particular storyline within them, as there are 4 different storylines to choose from now, I think.
I think this is the fourth timeline, yes.
In the Halloween movies. It's a choose your own adventure franchise, which
Yes.
is quite fun, to be honest, because you can just pop in wherever you want, watch a whole new thing.
Or just watch the first movie and act like none of the rest even existed.
That would be unfair on Halloween 2 and Halloween 4, though, wouldn't it?
I mean, I'm a huge fan of H2O. I appreciated where that sequel went. But yeah.
Yeah, see, I am. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it
Well,
all anyway. We've got Halloween Kills. We're going to talk a little bit about Bond in No Time to Die, because we haven't talked about that, I suppose, on
no.
the public at all. And a little bit into the DC stuff from this week that came out that we saw, and something Janine is particularly excited in. I think she's wearing the t-shirt. Scream. Scream 5 that isn't called Scream 5 for
or,
reasons nobody knows.
or even just making the 5 the S and Scream.
Or even making the 5 the S. Nobody's quite sure what's going on with that. However, Halloween. Let's just start us off, because we don't want this discussion to necessarily go on for hours and hours, Janine.
No.
That is too long a video at that
So
point for people to hang out with.
let's just jump into it then. Morgan, were you
Yeah,
excited for this sequel?
I was excited for Halloween Kills, because obviously I do like Halloween 2018. I really genuinely do. It might. I mean, it's tough to say things like it's the best Halloween sequel, because, like we've said, there's 4 different timelines, so you just pick which one and go with that one this week, and then pick the other one the next week and go with that one. And it doesn't really matter. I think ranking the Halloween movies is monumentally difficult to do, because they're not consistent in story, not just consistent in quality, but they're not consistent in story, because they're doing so many different things. It's like at this point ranking X-Men movies, or when those actually did exist, which they haven't for ages now,
Yeah,
but
it's been a
still,
minute.
because there's 2 different things. Oh, really? I mean, there's 2 different things, but if we're being honest, there's 3 different things. Oh, there's 4 different things when it comes to X-Men. In fact, there might even be 5 different things in X-Men movies. I'm thinking in fact, there might even be 6 things.
What?
I'm thinking just bear with me on this. The
Okay.
original 3 is 1.
Okay.
First Class and Days of Future Past is 1. Apocalypse and the nonsense that came after is 1. Deadpool 1 and 2 is 1. The Wolverine movies are 1, and then Logan's 1 on its own.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, but then you've got the New Mutants that I forgot about. There's 7 different X-Men things.
Yeah,
for you
like
to watch.
storyline, timelines, things don't play out properly, even though they say it's connected. It just doesn't make sense.
Which is the same with Halloween. If you were to watch Halloween 78, one after the other, all the way to this movie, you wouldn't have a clue what was going on.
No, because yeah, you are working through about 4 different timeline changes. I was also excited for this movie. I really did enjoy 2018. There were few things I did not like about 2018 Halloween. I really liked the continuation of the story, the characterizations, the kills. It felt like this is where Michael would be, somebody who just kills for the sake of killing, for the desire of killing. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Those kills were great, and they all felt very scary, like the kills in 78. The great kill with the kid and the lights going on and off, so you don't know where Michael is. That was a really cool kill. That one shot of him just going down the street and just creeping from house to house, randomly killing people and getting his knife back, and all of these things. Really cool kills. So I was hoping for more of that in this one, and we got an abundance of great kills. Like, I will say, probably the best thing about Halloween Kills is it does deliver on the kills.
On the good slasher kills. The slasher scenes.
The slasher scenes were great.
Yeah, the actual scenes that very much feel like a slasher movie. Because if we're being honest, it's a very different style of movie to even 2018, let alone 78.
Yeah.
Because original Halloween 78 is truly a perfect horror movie. It's unmatched in slasher. It is just pitch perfect. I call it calm intensity.
Yeah.
Because there's not many times in John Carpenter's Halloween where everybody's manic, running around, crazy, screaming. There's not many.
No.
There's not many times. Everything's just very...
It's very quiet and predatory and like, you know. And I appreciated that people were surprised and people weren't expecting these kills. And so the stalkery, predatory, just madman on a rampage kind of thing felt very real. It felt very, palpable and very intense.
That's what I love even more about the original Halloween, is that it's not even a rampage, though, is it? It's just a walking, quiet, okay, I'm just going to kill you. It's like, it's almost nonchalant, the way he goes about killing people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bloodless movie. It's famously a bloodless movie. That's apparently one of the goriest movies.
Right?
Ever. So you don't get that. Halloween 2018 is an incredibly gory movie that is more of a rampage. I've escaped. I'm going on a rampage. And
but
it isn't necessarily calm intensity as much as it is balls to the wall carnage.
Yes, but his kills still feel very stalkery, predatory, and intense. But I love how they did them. Like, you see one of those podcasters going to the bathroom, and in the background, Michael is killing somebody. You felt like there was no escape, and so that felt very intense. When, like the kid with the lights, like Oscar, he's trying to get away, he can't get over that fence. The lights are going on and off, so he can't see where Michael is at certain times, and then he just appears. All of that felt very scary. So I wanted more of that, and we got like insane, intense kills, but the people were just so dumb. I couldn't get past that. But like, I liked the feeling of either getting killed because you're not expecting it, all of a sudden you're looking out a window and somebody grabs you from behind and kills you. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. There were several people in this movie who could have gotten away, who could have at least tried to fight and just stood there. Had pregnant amounts of time, pregnant pauses of time where they could have gone out a door or done something, and instead they just chose to stand there and let Michael kill them. Like, moments like that were just infuriating for me. So while I did love the kills and they were really cool, and I love this version of Michael, just, you know, you see the embodiment of you know, pure evil that Dr. Loomis has been hyping up all of these movies.
Yeah. Hyping, would you call it hyping up? I just imagine Donald Pleasance going, "Oh, I'm really excited. This is pure evil. Hype up. Get the hype train on."
I just mean like the intensity.
Dr. Loomis hyping.
I mean, Dr. Loomis is pretty intense. So
he's incredibly intense.
That's what I mean by hyping. Just him just like constantly harping on about he's evil. Yeah. Oh my god, we gotta kill him.
He's so evil.
And you felt that there was no rhyme or reason to why he's doing this. He just does it. And I loved that. But just these people being so dumb, like the older couple, the first people that Kenny kills after the firefighters. So he kills all these firefighters, which, okay, dude, why are you spraying him with a hose? Like, what is that going to do? Like,
well,
why?
We'll get onto this, but I wanted to just make finalize my point of why Halloween Kills is a very different Halloween movie to the previous two in this particular storyline.
Okay.
Because 78 and 2018 are movies where Michael, both times actually, Michael has escaped and Michael goes on a spree of killing.
Yes.
This movie is people coming for Michael, and it's almost defensive tactics from Michael Myers. Michael Myers in Halloween Kills just wants to go home. His goal in Halloween Kills, if we're being honest, is to go and stand at his bedroom window.
His sister's
bedroom window. That is Michael Myers' goal. He's not he's done his killing at this point. It's everybody else that's now obsessed with killing him. So he's basically, I'm not defending Michael Myers here, but he's playing defense in this movie.
And the people are just in his way. And I get that. And had the movie just been focused kind of on that, then I would have liked that. But they tried to do so many different things that just did not. And there were builds to some great ideas that could have worked out really well. There were some great thoughts here that just did not pan out, that just did not play out smartly, that weren't put in the story in a good place. That just made it feel very sloppy and silly.
Put the banner on before the banner's on.
It just felt very silly at times, and the execution of things were not very well done. And also, you had these great legacy characters you're bringing back, so use them in some way that feels special. Instead, they were just very exposable and disposable. And just dumb, very dumb, making really stupid decisions and saying dumb things. And it was hard to see characters like that you're taking the time to bring back and do something very fun and fan servicey, and just wasting them like that.
People will. I understand, and I don't disagree with the fact that those characters were kind of wasted.
Yeah,
really. They were. I still. Hello, somebody in the chat.
Hello, let's go.
I do agree that those characters were, for the most part, wasted. I don't believe Tommy Doyle was wasted because he had an awful lot to do.
He did, but
time. And Lonnie as well, an awful lot to do and an awful lot of time. What they did with them
was
maybe a little bit weird.
Yes, that.
But at least they actually gave them time, and it's Lonnie. So for the whole movie, I'm just going, "Hey, Lonnie,
get your ass away from there."
The entire time he's on, he can be whatever he wants. That man is not Lonnie. Not a chance that man is Lonnie.
But see, and then like what was the point of throwing that scene of him getting bullied when we knew him to be the bully? Was it kind of supposed to be like these characters are probably going to be introduced later, these bully kids? Maybe they're the kids of the bratty kids that we see in later in the movie.
Oh, who knows? I don't think those guys came back into it, did they?
No, that's what I'm saying. So what was the point of that whole Lonnie getting bullied scene? Like, it felt like that went nowhere. And I really enjoyed a lot of the flashback stuff, like how they filmed it and made it look like it felt 70s. I liked that sense of it. The Donald Pleasance guy looked very much...
Hey, Nolan.
Hi, Nolan. I thought they did a good job with the Dr. Loomis that they had in those flashbacks. So I'm going to say I like the flashbacks to the point of kind of showing us something we didn't see. Kind of, they talked a lot about that night that Michael was captured. So I liked that they showed us that they made it look and feel like the 70s, but also things in that flashback scene, like Hawkins. What do you want to say?
It's a tough thing because I'm a big fan of Halloween 2. I like Halloween 2 an awful lot. I really do. Like Halloween, I would happily Halloween as one storyline. As one storyline. Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers is a great storyline. A great story. And you end it with Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. Because that ends with his niece putting on the clown costume and killing again once he's been trying to kill her. It's great. Yeah. And Loomis is in it, and it's great. It's really... I don't think people talk about Halloween 4 as much as they probably should. It's actually really... I like those three as one storyline a lot. And I like Season the Witch. Obviously on its own. Totally on its own. So when obviously the start of Halloween 2 is directly followed from Halloween.
Yes.
Minute for minute.
Mm-hmm.
What the flashback in Halloween Kills now does is give us this timeline's version of what we saw at the start of Halloween 2. Pretty much.
Yeah.
As in directly after Loomis shoots him off the balcony.
Yeah.
At the end of Halloween. So I appreciated that, and I actually quite liked what they did in those flashbacks. I've seen things going about as like, this flashback's ridiculous. This flashback.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people not liking it.
I actually really liked.
And if that's kind of where you want to have this full circle thing with your story, which obviously they do, they want to set up the importance of, Michael's just trying to go home. And I liked that, they gave us the thought of, okay, Michael, maybe he wasn't looking out on Haddonfield. He was looking in at his own reflection in the window. So I liked that whole kind of setup. Like, again, great things that they're kind of giving you about this character that we really don't need to know much about, but surface level, if we can kind of have an understanding, I appreciate that. So I liked all of that.
You just know that in Halloween Ends, they're going to make a whole explanation as why Michael
I don't need to
himself in the window. That they are.
I don't need that. I really don't.
Nobody needs it, but that's what they're going to do.
So I mean, but if this was going to be enough to give us the thing that Michael just wants to go home, this is the full circle thing we're going to have from beginning to end. This is what he wanted at the end of the original Halloween. This is what he still wants, is just to go home. He always just goes home. Then great setup for that. Hawkins shooting his partner, that just felt so dumb to me. Like, because Michael's not going to kill him because we've already established how many people Michael killed that night, right? So Michael can't be responsible for that death if he kills the partner. So I know they had to do something to make it not be Michael, but that just felt like, Hawkins, you're an idiot. I guess you're a rookie cop and okay, but it just felt...
I get that. I honestly didn't mind it. I was far too focused. I admit I was far too focused on the slightly over-the-top, ridiculous Donald Pleasance impression that the person they got to play Loomis was doing.
I think he looked good. That's what I will get at.
Really good.
Yes.
We didn't actually get much direct shots of Loomis. But I mean, goddamn, to cast somebody who legitimately looked that much like Donald Pleasance and probably do some face CG to probably sure okay. But it looked pretty good.
Yes.
But the voice was off.
No, they could have done it.
The voice sounded like my impression of Donald Pleasance when I go,
well, even in H2O,
I shot him 6 times.
Yes.
In the heart.
Even in H2O, like they did, like they're like you're listening to voice recordings and it's somebody doing an impression, and that even sounded better. So like, why don't you just get that person?
Isn't that what they did in 2018, like at the start?
Oh yeah, because the podcasters are playing back like Dr. Loomis's tapes, and that sounded pretty good. Yeah. But I don't know what they did, if that was the actor doing the voice or if they did dub it and it just didn't sound right. But the look of it and seeing him and kind of reliving that night, another part of it that we didn't see, I liked that whole concept. I just thought it was annoying because it was just annoying seeing Hawkins like kill his partner and like just be that incompetent. Like I wish it would have been something to where he had Michael in his sights and then Michael moved and then that's how he actually shot the partner. It looked like Hawkins just shot his partner. Like
kind of did.
So that felt just bumbling and stupid. Had it been a situation where they were moving around and you could tell that he had Michael in his sights, he goes to shoot Michael and then something moves or, Michael jerks him a certain way and then he accidentally shoots his partner. Okay, that would have made sense. But just having him be incompetent and just shoot his partner dead, that just felt incompetent and really dumb. And I wish they kind of would have played that out differently. But other than that, I think I really liked getting to see an insight of that night because everybody loves that 78 movie. So I liked, going back there.
Ultimately, I get a little kind of... When you have instances in these legacy sequels of Donald Pleasance is long dead. You know what I mean? When characters like that are just come back, and it can be in the weirdest looking CG form. I will always bring up when Grand Moff Tarkin showed up in Rogue One.
Yeah.
And it was the dude who half looked, had the same sort of features as Peter Cushing with a CG Peter Cushing face.
Yeah.
But the fact that Peter Cushing, the image of Peter Cushing, was in that movie long after Peter Cushing died, and there's obviously, there's no, you can't bring up was it in the honor of, was it honoring the deceased individual, because they wouldn't have been allowed to do it if it wasn't, and it hadn't have been passed off by people. You can't just do that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always get I just get like a nice warm feeling inside.
Yeah, it was really great seeing him again. Yes. And he would be there.
And he would be there. Of course he would be there. And in this flashback scene at the point when it shows up in the movie, it's not at the start when most of the flashback is. It's kind of like 2/3 in the way when you kind of blast back into it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Loomis shows up, and right in the middle of Halloween Kills, an admittedly silly slasher movie, I'm sat there in the cinema having a nice warm, oh look, it's Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, no, I had the same feeling. So I appreciated that. And
I know people that get like up in arms about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I am not of that mindset. When I see stuff like that, I get very...
But I think obviously if you're using that footage or you're using the resemblance of somebody has said yes, that is okay. So
that's what I mean. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
I really did like that.
And I wanted...
silly movie. There is silly things going on in Halloween Kills.
I think they had him kill his partner by accident, all of these things, because that was kind of the motivation they were setting up for Hawkins to stop Dr. Loomis from killing Michael that night.
Yeah.
And
Even
obviously,
though Loomis probably should have just
done it. But see, and I don't like that he would have done it in front of all of those cops and everything, because it wouldn't have played out very well for Dr. Loomis in that thing. Had it just been Hawkins and Dr. Loomis alone, and then he stopped him, and then all the cops showed up. But for Loomis was ready to execute him while all the cops were there with their guns out.
You see, this is why I like Halloween 2. and then Halloween 4.
Because then you have at least more people witnessing how insane Michael is. And now everyone, they wouldn't have had any qualms about Dr. Loomis. But like the fact that he was just going to execute him in front of all these police, you know, I think they would have been arresting Dr. Loomis at that point, or shooting Dr. Loomis or something.
Yeah.
And that would not have been a good. So yeah, and the fact that Hawkins had just killed his partner, he was saying that he was thinking about Michael being somebody's son or something, so that's why he stopped Dr. Loomis. Yeah, but like I didn't feel like that motivation was earned to feel that. So, I mean, Hawkins talks about how he stopped Dr. Loomis from killing him. So now he has this strong mission in 18 to make sure Michael does get killed and not make that same mistake again. So I didn't quite like how they executed showing us that. I like that we got to go back to that night and all of those things, but the way they executed it just did not. They could have done much more smarter things to make that feel earned and make sense.
I feel like that's a lot of this movie, really, is that the ideas in it are very interesting. Really, ultimately, they are. Yes. I don't think they're executed very well. I think sometimes, and admittedly, I almost think this is what a lot of people are somewhat getting hung up on when they are speaking their feelings about the movie. People are allowed to like whatever they like and allowed to not like whatever they don't like. I am not condemning either of those things. You like what you like, you don't like what you don't like. Personally, great, good for you, whatever. That's fine, that is you. You do you. Sweet. No problem to me whether you like something I don't like, whether you don't like something I like, whatever. But I think I've seen a lot of people who I think, well, I'm not going to say that. I don't think too much about this type of movie. This type of movie is a brutal slasher movie. It is not a deep think piece. Unfortunately, I think the creators of the movie wanted to make it a deep think piece a little bit. And that's why a lot of people are almost, I'm trying to pick my words carefully, judging it, but not like condemning it, but judging it, almost reviewing it based on the fact that the creators seem to want to make it a think piece, and they are thinking too much about it as well. Maybe I watched a totally different movie, but what I watched, for me, was a brutal, silly slasher, and I had fun with this movie being a brutal, silly slasher. This movie wasn't entirely a brutal, silly slasher. It was a brutal, silly slasher that also wanted to
have a social commentary
and shouldn't have done.
No, it should have just
this style of horror movie
is not. You don't need these
all that.
And I think they, and the little bit that they tried to do in 2018 felt like it made sense for the characters that we know. Like you see at the end of Halloween 78 how traumatized Laurie Strode is after the night she's had, and she's done a little bit more than maybe the most people. Like she actually, got stabbed by him. She like
Oh,
took
yeah,
off his
the-
mask and saw his face, and so she got to see those evil eyes and things like that. So you can understand. Yes, the devil's eyes, the darkest eyes. So you can understand maybe that 40 years later, she would still be traumatized by that. She would still be afraid of that. And so the little bit of commentary they had about trauma and how that affects somebody, I felt that was just the only bit of kind of commentary we needed on a specific topic, is maybe trauma and mental health and things like that.
And it was really well played in 2018. 2018 balanced the brutal slasher nature and the story about Laurie Strode's trauma very
well. Yes, how it's affected her life, it's affected her marriages and her relationship with her daughter and her granddaughter. So all of that made sense of where this character would be 40 years later. Like, you watched as her crying to herself and freaking out after the events of that movie. And it makes perfect sense to you that 40 years later, she'd still be living with this, still be traumatized, still be scared of this boogeyman, still, like, you know, be outside of his hospital when he's being moved, drinking and freaking out that he could come out and kill people again. All that was great and played really well. So here, when they're trying to go through this whole kind of social, you know,
it's unfortunately they keep those two elements that we've just talked about, the fact that we have to be ultimately a slasher movie and the trauma element, and then they try and add 2 or 3 more things.
Yes, that don't need to be in there as much as they were, and not even played well. Like, I appreciate the whole commentary on mob mentality and how that can be wrong, and look what it can bring. It turns you into a monster yourself. And Michael, you know, being a cancer on this town and affecting people on a level you never really thought about. That is a really smart idea for something like this, for a small community to be rocked by something like this person escaping and killing a bunch of people. But the execution was just so weird and kind of silly at times, and people just making really dumb decisions. And
you almost want a movie that's just that.
Yes, if that's going to be your focus, just make it about that. But don't try to do this and then these teases of Laurie getting back into action with Michael, and then still Michael going on these crazy sprees. Like, pick your poison.
And even, like, I don't know how you feel about the fact that the movie basically shouts in Laurie Strode's face and saying it's not all about you, Laurie.
I mean,
and Laurie for 40 years has dealt with this trauma of her believing it's all about her. It's her. And that's why he came back to her in 2018, even though obviously it was Dr. Sartain that brought them back together. And as far as Laurie was concerned, she'd won. She'd dealt with it at the end of 2018, as we all know. And then for some reason, the stupid firefighters go save Michael Myers and then get killed themselves. And all this nonsense, by the way, about this thing that was out a few weeks ago of please cut the scene where Michael Myers kills firefighters.
He kills first responders. And
yes, of course he kills first responders. He's Michael Myers.
He does not care.
Why are you looking up to Michael Myers as somebody that should have a morality?
Exactly. Yeah, that was kind of dumb. But yeah, like, I think it made sense about them. Like, I liked that, like, they're going to save somebody from this house, and it's Michael Myers.
I know. We've got this person.
Take my hand, and then you just see it's Michael's freaking hand. And, like, okay, smart. Like, he hid behind the kind of gun case thing. Okay, so
he's very smart. I'll always give him this. He's always very, very clever. Michael Myers.
And I did like kind of the idea of you know, we see Hawkins talking about, you know, he's like a 6-year-old boy with the strength of a man. And so, you know, when you see him doing these elaborate things, like putting Judith's gravestone above a body that's like similar to his sister, and, you know, putting on the ghost thing and wearing a costume and all of those things. It makes sense how he would set up bodies like that and do things because he's like a little boy playing with his toys and making his action figures reenact these scenes. Like how he does with Big John and Little John and things like that.
Yes.
Putting the Halloween masks.
Even with the black couple in this movie, he sets them up on that little roundabout with the masks on.
Yes, and he puts the masks and he hangs up the nurse and it's the silver shamrock masks.
It is.
Yeah.
It's theatrical. Theatrical. He's got a little of Hannibal Lecter in him in that way.
Yes, and people think like, why would Michael do all of this? He's a mindless killer, but like we saw him do this in 78. We saw him, he puts on a sheet and puts on Bob's glasses and he's like pretending to be Bob, like he's imitating, what he's seen, like a little kid would do. So those things made sense to me and I appreciated that. So for people who think that was like too much for him to be doing, don't really, it makes perfect sense. This character would do things like that. The fact that he had the husband laid out and he's just grabbing knives and just stabbing it. Like, I thought that was really interesting.
Nasty.
Yes. How he's just grabbing, and then he's like, I like this one. And then he leaves. Yeah, and she's just like, his wife is half alive and seeing him just stab, like pick a different knife and stab him. Like that felt so brutal. So it's
another positive thing. I mean, we say positive, it's a slasher movie. What constitutes positive is a hell of a lot different to what constitutes positivity normally.
Yes.
But oh my God, the brutality of the kills
was what you wanted to see. And I really, that was my favorite part about this movie. Probably the best thing about this movie. Nasty. But I want to get back into the stupidity of some of these characters that was just pissing me off.
Okay. Because it's a fair point to bring up, as there is plenty of it.
Yes. So first we have the firefighter who just decides to point a hose at Michael. You're not even going to spray him in the face, or you're just going to just squirt some water on him. Okay. Really?
It felt like it was like a weak hose as well.
Right? Like if that was a real fire hose, it would be blasting like
a little water pistol.
Yes.
But like not like a super soaker where you're pumping it like that and firing. Just like a tiny little one.
Yes. That's like the fire. That's like the hose I used to wash my car. Like,
no. I don't think it's even that powerful. It didn't even look that powerful. It looked really
No, Michael was just like, what are you doing? So that felt really dumb. Like, why are you going to make that choice if it's not even going to be powerful enough to like push him back a little bit or something? Like maybe have him squirting him, it's pushing him back, he's falling down, but then it runs out of water or something because you already used most of it on the house. Okay, yeah. And then that's when he comes for everybody. But no, you just have him turn and spray him. It does nothing, and then he just kills everybody. Like, why? Why didn't you like make it more intense, or people really like, especially if you're building to this moment of people being fed up and ready to fight Michael and all of these things. This would have been your first little moment, like, okay, we're gonna try to at least fight him. Give these people a little bit of fight, and then Michael can kill them all because he's just so brutal. And like that would have made it mean a little bit more, and maybe build up to this whole mob mentality thing that you're going to be pushing later on in the movie. And then we get to the old couple.
I'm just going to put this comment from Nolan on the screen. Please continue. Please continue, Jenny. I was just going to put it up there for.
So then we get to the older couple that we talked about, with their cute little drone. And
she's having so much fun with the little drone helicopter.
Yes. And this lady is so dumb, which I'm just mad. Like, the black people in this movie, come on, you're making us look bad. Like, the black people in this movie were so damn dumb. It hurt my heart a little bit. It hurt my heart a little bit. Because we had Julian in the last movie, little black kid, smart. He got away. He was like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out of here." Movie. And yes, he was on the news. So I was like, okay, we got a black character. He's making smart choices. He gets the hell out of there. We had 3 black characters in this movie, all just being stupid, and that made this not make me happy at all. So this black woman, her husband gets killed. She sees him get dragged away. So plenty of time to make your escape. She goes to the back door. She's fumbling with the locks. Maybe out of fear, maybe she couldn't get them all unlocked. But no, we see her. She gets them all unlocked. You think she's going to open the door and go, but no, she decides to just turn her back to the door, lean on it, grab a knife, and what is she going to do? Defend herself? So maybe, okay, another great, I'm not going to leave my home. He killed my husband. Maybe see her be kind of tough about it. I'm scared out of my wits, but I'm gonna try to fight back. Maybe give us that if you're gonna have her just make this grandstand.
She's giving the Inigo Montoya pose.
Yes, she's like, ha, I'm gonna get you. Yeah, like, come on. Like, you know,
killed my husband.
Have her do the thing that every black woman in a horror movie does. Come on, motherfucker. And like get all like Pam Grier on him.
Does every black woman in every horror movie do that?
A lot of them
everyone?
Do. Not everyone, but several of them just get cut tough. Like they're not up for it. They're gonna, yeah. I can think of several like just in my catalog of black people in horror. Like let her be tough about it and say, this is my home. I'm gonna defend it. He killed my husband, whatever. But no, she just grabs a knife off the wall, leaning against the door. She still has plenty of time to escape, mind you. Michael's across the way. He doesn't even come towards her. He goes around to the sink, which is way across the kitchen. And at that time, she could still escape. But no, she's just standing there with a knife. Michael breaks the light. He has a new weapon now. And he just comes towards her and stabs her in the neck. She doesn't even try to like slash at him with the knife that she got off the wall. No, that's just meant to show us where the knives are for later when he's playing pincushion with her husband. But she doesn't try to fight him off. She doesn't try to escape in the plenty of time she has to escape. And Michael just stabs her through the neck. And now she has to sit there bleeding out, watching Michael stab up her man.
It's a nasty kill, that though, when that light.
Yes. Yeah. So that was just annoying right there. Like, she got this knife. She didn't even fight back. She had plenty of time to run away. She didn't run away. That shit just made me annoyed, right? Right there. So then we have our legacy characters, and the setup for that was so weird. Like Lonnie sets up like Tommy, like Tommy is gonna come up and like say some fun story or tell jokes or something, and he sets it up like it's this fun thing just for Tommy to get up there and say this depressing ass speech. And get everybody sad.
I thought the speech was relevant. I actually quite liked the speech.
But the setup to it, like Lonnie set it up like he was gonna say some funny thing, or like, oh yeah, my man Tommy Doyle, and like talking about like this is a party, everyone's hanging out, having a good time, and the setup that Lonnie gave him was just like it's gonna be this fun thing, and then he gets up and gives this sad ass depressing speech that just. It didn't feel right based off of the environment and the setup. It just felt weird. So like had he been able to deliver that speech in another vein, that would have felt like it made more sense. But the fact that he gets up there after Lonnie's talking to him like he's going to do some comedy sketch just for him to like deliver this really sad ass depressing speech just felt weird.
Well, Nolan said there as on the comment,
yes,
that he doesn't buy Anthony Michael Hall as Tommy Doyle. Felt like a different character entirely, and brought up Paul Rudd. Now, yeah. Paul Rudd, I forget what Paul Rudd was in. Which one? Which one was Paul Rudd in?
Not Curse. Was it Curse? It's the one with that guy with the cowboy hat that comes back and.
I only watch up to 4. I'm happy after 4. I'm happy watching up to 4. Anyway, I mean, what I would say to Nolan's point is that think about this storyline. When was the last time you saw Tommy Doyle? He was 10 years old in 1978.
Yeah.
In this storyline. To say that it felt like a different character is like saying 10-year-old me isn't me now.
Yeah,
and I feel like it. Of course. So to that,
we don't know him. We don't know him.
We don't know him. So that doesn't bother me as much as it. If that is a valid concern for you, Nolan, perfectly fine. Obviously. What I don't buy is the fact that Anthony Michael Hall as a middle-aged adult just does not remind me of Anthony Michael Hall as a teenager or in his early 20s. He's a totally different person. Not Tommy Doyle, Anthony Michael Hall. Why is he a brutish, bald, middle-aged man?
Like, I wanted him to...
skinny, geeky man like he used to be when he was in movies when he was 20.
Yeah, like, but
that's my problem.
And I didn't like, I didn't like Tommy Doyle feeling so brutish, like you're kind of describing him. Like I wanted him to be more. He wasn't sympathetic at all. And
No, that's not Tommy. I'm not speaking about Tommy Doyle. I'm speaking about the person, Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, I'm talking about the character. The character did feel brutish, and like he didn't feel sympathetic enough at all. Like if he was more sympathetic, I would have liked people to want to follow him because they trust him because he is a sympathetic person. But instead they follow him because he feels like a crazy QAnon conspirator who riles people up. He felt more like that than somebody who's like fighting for a cause to protect the town. He felt like somebody who just wanted to rile people up at times. And this character he's a character that we knew from the first movie, but we haven't seen, and he's like a kid who got bullied and stuff like that. Yeah. So, it's somebody already that you kind of want to sympathize with and feel bad for and want to take care of because, we see him getting bullied, right? So if that's all we have of this character at 10 years old, then give us some of that in his adulthood. Don't make him this crazy person who just wants to rile people up. Give us something like, our town has been through hell and I love this place and I love these people and we need to fight back. Like, but no, we're like, you grab your torch and pitchfork, let's go kill the ogre. Like he was like the people coming after Shrek. Like I didn't like that execution of setting up that mob mentality. There was a much better way you could have gone about it and made this character more sympathetic. So like his speech and like talking about this night and what it means to the people and setting up the legacy characters. Okay, that was fine. But also just like the setup of that speech to begin with, hey, he's going to do a snappy little routine. And then he's like super depressing. It just felt kind of morbid and weird. I don't know. I didn't like that setup. But I wish there was a different way of him going about giving the speech and introducing these legacy characters. And then that would have built to the whole mob situation.
We've already said it. They wasted most of the legacy characters.
Yes.
The fact we saw them, yes, was nice. It felt nice. Bring them back. That's what legacy sequels are for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what
you got a little flashback. So if you didn't know who they were, you kind of saw who they were.
You like to see it. What you don't like, and I said this before, I don't feel like Tommy Doyle was wasted because he had too much to do. But Lindsay and the nurse, and Lee Brackett. Can we just talk a little minute about Charles Cyphers, Chief Lee Brackett, who is great in the original Halloween? I love him. Everybody is, entitled to one good scare.
Yeah,
it's Halloween. That's his famous line. It's brought back in this movie in a phenomenal little one line that doesn't end well for Lee Brackett.
No.
And did everybody love it when 130-year-old Charles Cyphers in this movie? Because, oh God, the man has aged significantly. Obviously, it was 43 years ago, and he wasn't, and he was a middle-aged man in 78.
Yeah.
Charles is definitely in his late 80s. Has to be. Surely he's in his late 80s. Anyway. I love the fact that he said his line again in a little bit of a catchphrasey way because it was silly. It was stupid.
Still in his cop uniform, pointing a gun. I appreciated that.
I was here for it. I don't like that he had absolutely nothing else to do. I love him. I love him in Halloween 78. I do. He's a fun character in that movie.
Yeah, and so it would make sense that he has a stake in this as well because Michael killed his daughter. So give him a little bit more to do. I know he's a little old man, but give him a little bit of something.
Give him some maybe quiet, meaningful, just 1, 2.
Give one of those long ass, sad ass monologues that Hawkins and Laurie got. Give it to him.
Thing is, I think they're necessary for Laurie and Hawkins. I actually really we've talked very little about this, and I don't want this discussion to go on for monumentally too long.
Yes.
Because we do want to talk about other stuff as well. But the Laurie and Hawkins stuff, I actually really quite like.
Okay.
I genuinely like that stuff.
Well, people thought they had a good energy. Like in the first movie, people were like, she talks to the podcasters about her 2 failed marriages and this and that. So how they kind of related to each other, people thought, oh, maybe Hawkins is one of her ex-husbands. Which, why didn't they just do that? Because then they would have still kind of had this rapport, this playful kind of energy together.
I don't think it matters though, does it really?
But so no, I mean, but obviously that they were setting up for them to have some kind of feelings for each other. So why not just do that in 2018? And then you have it here. I think they just wanted
because Halloween Ends is going to end up with Laurie and Frank marrying each other.
Exactly. So then they could have just gone back together. It happened. So I think they just wanted to have a fun Ben Tramer reference.
Probably, yeah, because he gets blasted by the car
in the second
in Halloween 2, which isn't. Oh, sorry, we have to forget about that. Where's Ben
so that
Tramer?
Didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Surely he
which
should
they
be
did.
Out.
Didn't they use a little bit of footage from 2 because that's when Brackett finds his daughter, right? In 2, and they showed that clip of him seeing his daughter on the stretcher.
Yes.
Yes. Or was that in 2?
Ooh.
Because I mean, the movie just ends with him.
I've not watched Halloween yet. I've not watched Halloween yet this Halloween because I always watch it on.
But yeah,
Halloween.
they don't show anybody finding any of the bodies really, except Laurie. Like, so I think that was
no. It must be 2. It must be 2.
So, but they showed that clip.
Is 2 relevant? 2 can't be relevant.
No, but I think they just need a clip of young Brackett seeing his daughter. So I think they had to use a clip from that.
Why'd you have to confuse? Do you know what the problem with? And I know it might be a bit. People will think what they will think when I say this. I legitimately think the problem with what Halloween Kills has shown us, because 2018 truly didn't show this element that I'm going to bring up, but Halloween Kills did, is the fact that it's ultimately written, directed, created by comedic people who might appreciate Halloween and might appreciate horror. And I'm not saying comedic people can't do that. Obviously they can. But the Danny McBride, David Gordon Green style of comedy appears to be seeping in a little too much.
Yeah, I think that's why
to a Halloween movie, which, if we're making a horror comedy, fine. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're making a Halloween horror movie. There's no comedy here. However, some of the, like you talked about before, the stupidness that's going on, the silliness of choices of characters, are almost there to make scenes funnier.
But it's well, I guess like all the stuff with Lindsay and the nurse and the doctor and nurse people, whole car scene was another just huge moment of people being complete idiots. So the nurse
if that's what they want to do, if they want to import horror, input comedy and their style of comedy, of course they can, because that's what they're doing.
But this is not the moments they used them were not like all the Little John, Big John. That's where you infuse that comedy. They were great. Worked. Exactly. But don't have the nurse be dumb and blow out all the windows, and then she's locking the door. And then they're like, why are you locking us in here? Like, what are you doing? And then she tries to have this whole like dramatic, this is for Dr. Loomis, and then she's out of bullets because her dumb ass shot out all the windows. Then you have the nurse who's like, you can't use this gun, I can use it better than you. Then while her husband and the nurse are getting killed, she's off for at least 30 seconds to a minute. Where did she go? She left the car and went where? Only to come back after they've both been killed.
See Lindsay.
Well, obviously she didn't find her.
No, that was later.
He had already jumped on the car, so I think she maybe got out to find Lindsay. I don't know, But
No, I'm
she's
thinking
gone.
of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of totally the wrong thing.
She's gone forever. She has the gun, so her husband gets killed, and that's when she comes back. She's shooting just random shots. Michael's not even in her line of vision. She's just shooting, only to get close enough for Michael to just kick the door and make her shoot herself in the face. Like, that just felt so stupid.
The thing is, with slasher movies, and I think the issue of some of the stupid decisions that happen in Halloween Kills are because ultimately Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills take themselves very seriously. They are serious slasher movies.
Yeah.
They're not campy slasher movies. They are not even kind of fun splatter slasher movie. They're not like splatter, the gory, but they're not splatter. You know what I mean? They're not Evil Dead.
Yeah.
There's no, and this is another weird thing. They are made by comedic people. They are made by comedic people who seem to be trying to input comedy in there, but in
weird way.
Totally I'm not going to say wrong, but totally I don't know what word to use, way that comedy is inputted into slasher. Like, you watch any stupid, God, there's so many stupid slasher movies that everybody loves because they're stupid and because they're a bit like, what is this person doing? What's going on? Oh, what a good kill. I love it because it's a little bit campy. I think that's the point. There's no campiness.
No.
Just trying to input stupid humor.
And it just feels like people making stupid decisions too. And so it doesn't feel fun.
No, that's the thing. It's fun, campy slasher that can still be scary, can still be intense, can still feel very horror fueled, but has an element to it of. I recently watched for the first time the movie Tourist Trap from 1979, which I was wonderful recommended off Twitter. A ridiculously campy slasher movie. It's like the guy in Tourist Trap builds wax mannequins that are out of people he kills, and they come alive again.
Oh my gosh!
As
this Reanimator?
weird reanimated, half mechanical, half flesh things that just look really weird and help him kill the people.
Okay.
It's a weird movie. I would watch this movie. God, it's a stupid movie where people do monumentally stupid things all the time. The kills in it are fun and stupid. The actual villain, how he goes about what he's doing,
it's very over
doesn't
the top
make
and crazy.
any sense at all.
Yeah.
But I really like that movie.
And it knows what it's doing.
At any point, and it knows what it's doing. I did not at any point question what was going on because I was having too much fun.
Yeah. So the fact I think that it doesn't work is that this movie is trying to take itself very seriously and do these serious things with a slasher that's supposed to just be
at the wrong times.
Yes. So nothing really gels for me in this movie. I loved Michael being Michael, and that's probably the best part of this movie. Other than that, like, I wanted to love it. I wanted to see some of these really interesting ideas go somewhere, and they just didn't. You have Laurie, all these setups with Laurie potentially. I liked like someone kind of setting her straight. It's not really about you, Laurie. He's just a killer. He's just a monster. And
Jamie
somebody's
Lee's crushing it again, obviously.
Yes.
There's no problem.
And, Jamie. Hawkins telling her, this was my doing. I didn't let Loomis kill him all these years ago, and now he's doing all of these things. Sartain is the one who brought him to your house. This was not about you. He didn't find you. Like, he was just, this was the circumstances of the situation. So I liked all of that. but like setting up Lori to get the knife and go and do all of these things just for her to beat up a doctor for no reason, open her stitches up, and then need a doctor. Well, you shouldn't have beaten up that doctor that was just walking down the hallway. He could have saved you and then get back into bed and then just to be sidelined the rest of the movie. Like, if you're going to sideline her, okay, but like, make it make sense. Make her be the one kind of running point on this whole mob, telling, calling out orders and telling people what to do and where you can find him and how he moves and, something. But you had all these setups of her getting dressed and injecting herself with a shot and getting that knife and like she's going to go do something just for her to not do anything. It just felt very wasted and dumb to set things up like that just for them to go nowhere. If you're going to have her be silent in the hospital, let her be silent in the hospital and interject her in the story in other ways. But don't set up that she's going to go out and get Michael when that wasn't in the story.
That's what Halloween 2 did. That's exactly what Halloween 2 did. She's not in Halloween 2 a great deal.
No, because that movie was not meant to happen. Like, there was no...
No, it wasn't. Wasn't really meant to happen. But it's still great. But it's really, really focused on Loomis.
Yeah.
Really focused on Loomis going after Michael. And Laurie's just in hospital all the movie.
Yeah.
Much like this movie. She's in hospital all movie. And it's focused on other stuff. I get what they're trying to do by having the mob not listen to Laurie at all. And we've already been over this. I get that. I have no problem with Laurie, though. Like I said, I have no problem with what they're doing with Laurie. What they're doing, like, as a Laurie Strode movie, this is a really great follow-up.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael's still alive, but nobody's listening to me about him still.
Yeah.
But then I'm having nice conversations with Hawkins, realizing what's going on.
Yeah.
Nope.
I just didn't like them getting her out of bed for no reason. Just leave her in bed. Like, that was dumb.
As a furthering of Michael's story. And ultimately, I kind of want to try and wrap this up shortly, the Halloween discussion.
Yes.
As a furthering of Michael's story, I also like it. It's the tertiary stuff going on that makes it weird.
Yes.
It's not as good as Halloween 2018 because it's not as focused as Halloween 2018.
No, they're trying to do just too many things. All the Karen stuff and trying to save that guy. Which, how did he get to Haddonfield? Because Haddonfield is kind of far from Smith's Grove. And Michael, you took a car and left. Like, that guy, he was just on foot.
Yeah, so how did that guy get about? Where did he just walked this way?
Yes, to be there that same night around the same time as Michael, like.
And admittedly, I have seen this be brought up as well, and I actually fully agree with this. And you know me, I ultimately my thoughts on Halloween Kills, I enjoyed it as a slasher movie, and there was weird stuff going on in there that makes me a little concerned about what story elements they're going to have in Halloween Ends. However, as long as Halloween Ends also is satisfying in a slasher sense, I think I will enjoy that somewhat as well.
Yes. So what do you think we're going to get? How are they going to get to Halloween Kills or Ends from here?
I'm getting onto that. I was just going to say, oh God, what was I going to say? I've not forgotten. Oh, I think I've forgotten what I was going to say totally. No, I hate it when this happens, Janine.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. It was my fault.
What was I talking about?
You mentioned Halloween Ends. That's why I thought you.
I know I mentioned Halloween Ends. I mean, before Karen, the guy walking.
Oh yes, the other inmate.
No.
We were talking about the other inmate. How did he get to Smith's Grove? And then other things people were saying. They were talking about how that guy could have gotten there, but something else that other people were.
Yes. I've seen this happen. I've seen this be brought up on Twitter, and I totally agree with it. Oh my God, they all think this dude's Michael Myers. This dude.
It looks like the penguin.
Who's 5'4" and looks like the penguin. How do they think this? I know Michael Myers wears a mask and a boil suit. I know you've never seen Michael Myers before, but also Michael, you know full goddamn well what Michael Myers did. Does this dude.
And they're like, it's the guy we saw on the news, but they showed Michael's picture on the news too. They showed both pictures. Like, even though Michael was blurred out for us, they showed his picture on the news.
This dude. This guy.
So you know there are two escaped people.
He's brutal ass Michael. No.
Yeah, that's true.
That was possibly the one Morgan is questioning what the hell people are thinking in this movie aspect about it. Is they are all totally convinced this dude is Michael Myers. This dude who literally looks like he couldn't lift up a box that was empty. And apparently he's a mass murderer who we all know. Some of you have even seen him tonight.
Yeah.
You therefore know how tall he is. You therefore know what he can do.
A similar build that he has.
He's not a small, rotund gentleman.
Yes, with long hair hanging out of the back of that mask. And if he's been killing, he would be in the jumpsuit. Even if he didn't have the mask, he would still have the jumpsuit.
Why would he have taken off his clothes?
Why would he have the Smith Grove
running around with nothing on?
Because he killed the person at the gas station and took his thing. So like, he would still be wearing that. But yeah, so I get that they were trying to do this whole mob thing. It didn't quite work out. So we end the movie with Karen in Judith's window looking out at the house where everyone's there. Police are there. Everybody's there in front of the house. So how did Michael get in there? A back door. But like, the way she chased him and where the mob attacked Michael was in front of the house. So how did he get around to the back and not be seen? How did he get into that house and into that room without being seen? The stairwell to get up there is in the doorway.
Because, and this has been said from the beginning, if we're being honest, and this is exactly where I believe they're going to take this story, is that Michael Myers isn't a human being. He's evil. He's the boogeyman.
So yes, they're setting up this otherworldly entity.
The physics of Michael Myers are not human. The physics of they are totally going, and I will be genuinely surprised if they don't outright say Michael Myers is a spirit of evil or something along the lines of that. Now, it is way less effective in that way because Halloween 78, Michael Myers, a person for a reason, made sense. 70s horror, all about evil people doing evil things. American 70s horror, because that was the US in the 70s, was look at all these human beings doing horrible things.
Yes.
So let's put that in our horror movies. That was America in the 70s. That is Halloween. That is Michael Myers. To put the embodiment of pure evil, sure, but people have also been that.
Yes.
You know, I would be genuinely surprised if they don't make Michael Myers
some supernatural
literal boogeyman. Not, the boogeyman, be afraid of him, because that's what yes, Michael Myers is the boogeyman, but he's a human being. And yes, okay, he survives a great deal, obviously, but also, why am I thinking too much about this? It's a slasher movie. Get out of my head with that kind of thought. I don't think about that sort of stuff.
So yeah,
however,
so I don't know if they're actually going to, they didn't really show any details of Karen stabbing. So it could be a Hawkins situation where she's not really dead. So who knows? but
Possibly.
I feel like
Who
all that
knows?
talk of like the more he kills, the more stronger he gets, and the more he becomes this entity, this vessel for evil or whatever. So yeah, so I feel like the next movie is going to be some kind of supernatural situation with Michael and
Which
a transcendent being of something else that's not human, which I don't know that
really
people are
gonna
going
up.
to,
is really
because
gonna
that's what they tried to do with Curse and things like that. So
Yeah, it is. It is, and look how well that one. Everybody loves the Curse of Michael Myers.
so yes, I think that's probably where it's headed.
It is.
I think
It's the only. I think it's the only logical way. That's why I'm be genuinely surprised if it isn't.
yes.
I think it's
So,
got to end. I don't know how it's got to. I don't know how it's legitimately this sequel legacy sequel trilogy is going to end. I have no idea.
and just to end this conversation, yeah, it's just very frustrating. As you know, 2018 was. I thought it was a really great way to continue the story. It had the kills, the slasher elements, very great intensity, like the 78 film, and it also made sense that these characters, that Laurie would be where she was now, and um, you know how everything played out. It all kind of made sense. It felt like it was thought out really well, while also um, and that the 78 movie was really well considered while making that movie. This one did not feel like any of that. And it's like you get this 2018 movie, you are told you get the opportunity to make 3 movies in this new timeline. This movie felt like there was no plan. Like this was not planned. Like they just threw some stuff at the wall and just made it. Like you have this 2018 film, so make a plan. Make these movies make sense together. It feels like a very Star Wars final trilogy situation where you know it's just very disjointed, and you had the time, the people to make, and it's the same people making it. It's not like Star Wars where like it's somebody different who took over and did their own thing. It's the same people, so you should have put your plan in motion and set up your 3 movie situation to where they all connect, where they all make sense, where you have everything you want, and it's all out of what you were given with a great film in 78. And it just did not feel like that. With the time they had, with the people they had, they did not use that to their fullest opportunity. And that is just what's frustrating about it for me in this movie.
But like I said, as a furthering of Laurie's story, it's a furthering of Michael's story. I legitimately like what's
those
going
things
on.
were done well. Those things
and
were
as a
done
slasher,
well,
I like it.
Yes,
it's
the kills were
weird
great,
stuff that's
were
going on, yeah.
brutal. But the kills didn't feel tense for me at all, because it was like people who could have gotten away, people who could have fought back, people who could have done something more than they did, and they just stood there and let Michael kill them. So those,
Sure.
in that essence, it didn't have the visceral like fear and like, oh my gosh, this is scary. Where's he gonna pop up? It didn't have, even in 78, like, you know, Sheriff Brackett's daughter gets in her car and it's all foggy, and she's like, why is it so foggy in here? Just for Michael to grab her. And you know, you think she's trying to get it, she's honking the horn to get help, and then he like takes her out before she can do anything. Like that's intense and scary. This was like, I'm just gonna stand here and stare at him until he approaches me and then just stabs me.
78 is well known for having all those shots of Michael's face in the background that you just see for 2 seconds, and then where's he gone now? You don't know where he's gone. There he's gonna pop up. It is stalking, like you said. You called it predatory before. That's exactly what it is. And this movie doesn't have that aspect of Michael Myers in it. It doesn't. It has the brutality of Michael Myers in it, which I did like.
Yes,
but it doesn't. It's tonally off. Which is
all over the place. So, yep. Halloween Kills. I was not a fan. I loved Michael in it and Laurie in it. I wish they would have used her better, utilized her sidelining better, and her time with Hawkins. Like, I liked their dynamic. That was really sweet. The Little John, Big John, they were great.
Yeah, they were. We'd barely talked about them, but they were legitimately
hilarious. Yes,
fun supporting members. They really were.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that somebody would live in that house and like fix it up. But like that house is not just gonna stay abandoned like old Boo Radley's house, like down the road everyone like
I mean, my God, they must have got it for cheap though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And I think I saw them on a bench, like Big John Realty or something. So I think they are realtors.
Okay.
I want to say in a different scene, we see them on a bench, like a bus bench ad, whatever. But yeah, I thought they were a great way to inject some comedy. And it didn't bug me that they were like going and investigating, like, this is their home. So they're gonna try to fight it off. And maybe they don't completely know that it's Michael until he sees him and he's like, he's come home.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Big John and Little John, that was like a nice injection of comedy that made sense. And like interesting to see people actually living in Michael's house. But other than that, like this movie was just frustrating for me on so many levels. I was not happy with it.
I don't feel as strongly as you. I really don't. I am more than happy to watch this movie again.
I did
because
I watched it twice, thinking I would find things, but
I'm more than happy to watch this movie again because I know that I don't need to think, and if I don't think, I'm going to enjoy it. Okay. And that's how I like to treat movies like this. And as we all know, I am not one who gets overly annoyed when a story doesn't pan out the way I may have envisioned it doing, because ultimately I'm not making the movie.
Yeah.
Now, this is just my feelings on it. This does not at all mean that I'm saying you shouldn't feel that way if you are one who, you expect a story to pan out in what makes the most sense for you, because that's what you believe makes the most sense in general, then I can understand why you'd be annoyed at that. Of course I can.
Yeah.
I just happen to not think that way when I'm watching movies. I watch movies for, movies are full stop. You know what I mean? This movie is. It is what it is. So it will always be what it's going to be. You can't. Because you didn't make that movie. So these people made this movie. David Gordon Green, Danny McBride. I mean, John Carpenter executive produced, but really he's probably just there for the music.
Jamie Lee also.
Yeah, Jamie Lee executive produced, but really, I mean, Jamie Lee's probably there just to make sure Laurie's doing okay, and Laurie's doing okay.
Does. Yeah.
Carpenter's probably there just to make sure Michael's doing okay, and Michael's doing okay.
Yes.
Well, Carpenter's just probably there just to say, oh yeah.
Because he didn't even want to make that second movie. He was very annoyed having to make that movie. So like to see kind of what people have done, he's just like, oh, whatever. My movie was good. My movie was good. So and my music is good. So fucking
Carpenter's music. Who did? Of course, he did the music, didn't he? With his son. And the music's obviously great.
Great.
That's what John Carpenter's been interested in for the last 10 years. Is his music?
Yeah.
I don't really think he cares.
No, he's like, my movie was good, and that's all that matters to me. Yeah, my music is good. My movie was good. Deuces. Give me a check. Cut me a check.
Fine, exactly.
And that's why that's the only reason he did Halloween 2, because of the money. So,
I mean, you read stuff. You do read stuff about Halloween 2, how he actually got it recut because I think it's Rick Rosenthal who directed Halloween 2. Apparently, the first cut was not scary remotely to Carpenter, and Carpenter was like, sort it out.
Yeah.
So he cares. Of course he cares.
Yeah.
But I'm saying now, after all that time, it's not Halloween 2 in 1981 anymore. You know what I mean? And why should he? He's done what he's done. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
For making those movies.
That's what I'm saying. So
I have no issue. I have no issue with what Carpenter may or may not think.
But yeah, it was just frustrating that it was just interesting things that went nowhere, bad execution of things,
We'll see
and
where the
people
third
being
one goes.
dumb.
We'll
I'm
see where
really
the
curious
third
to
one
see.
goes.
Yeah,
I'm very interested in seeing where the third one goes, and if they don't make it some sort of spiritual embodiment, or Haddonfield is really the portal to hell or whatever. I mean, if you
who
really want to
knows?
go Evil Dead with it,
Go for that. Just do it.
go for that. But
Live
also,
with the
it's not
camp
Evil
of it.
Dead.
Yeah.
But you're not living with the camp. If you were living in the camp of it, you could do that and get away with it. That's what Evil Dead does.
Yeah.
Evil Dead's made a whole legacy of making the stupidest stuff work because of the tone of its movies and TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know really where we are tonally with Halloween at the minute, but I had an enjoyable time watching this movie.
Okay, well, lucky you. I'm jealous.
And I would happily, but having said that, I would happily watch as a complete storyline Halloween 78 and Halloween 2018 end.
Yes.
I would happily have the storyline end at the end of Halloween 18, because ultimately, up until a few months ago, I forgot that Halloween Kills was going to exist.
But I mean, and if you think about it too, 2018 Halloween ends like Halloween 78 ended. You just hear Michael disappears in the night, and you hear him breathing, and you see all the places he's been, and you just hear his breathing, and it ends. That's how 2018 ended. You don't see him. You know he's got away somehow, and he's just breathing, and you just hear him breathing, and that's it.
Halloween 2 is a better sequel than Halloween Kills to a Halloween movie, even though Halloween Kills isn't it's a third movie. Ultimately, it's a third movie, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, it's weird. We've gone on for a long time.
Too long.
We've gone on for too long. So I think actually we're gonna keep this stream purely horror focused. We'll finish on the Scream trailer.
Okay.
And we'll save the rest for another stream.
Okay.
Because I think that would be fair. I think that splits it up nice.
Okay. All right. So
because we had so much to say, Janine.
I know we had a lot.
We're passionate about Halloween. All I want to do is just go. I mean,
you don't want to go
driving. No, because that's specifically for Season of the Witch.
It's still a Halloween movie.
It is still a Halloween movie. It is, and we like that aspect of it. We do. In the driving in the car on the way to the cinema, I was just blasting the Halloween theme. Full volume. Full volume. Windows. The windows weren't down. It's cold. Full volume. Just, this is what I'm listening to when I'm watching Halloween.
Well,
I did the same thing when I went watching Candyman.
I'll be invoking...
Not the Halloween thing. That was weird. That'd be weird.
I'll be invoking some Halloweenness of my own soon. So stay tuned for that. October 29th.
Yeah.
Skybound Horror Expo happening October 29th. So stay tuned for that. Because you may see me in a very Halloweeny state of mind.
Lovely stuff. There's a little plug for you. Well, let us round out the stream for the next 20 minutes, I think we'll go for. I think that works quite nicely. Scream 5. Something Janine really likes.
Scream 5.
In all its... Janine likes Scream 3, so there you go.
I recognize it as the worst of the four, but I still like it. I still love the franchise. Yes. So, yeah, I went to go see Scream on the big screen to celebrate the 25th anniversary. It was great. I wore my Tatum Sky pajamas and was bam, bitch went down the whole time. And was really, really excited because I had heard that maybe they were going to show some behind the scenes footage or something for Scream 5. And I waited and they just showed, hey, here's a link to the poster. And the trailer's coming on Tuesday. What?
Is the poster any good?
I mean, it's a close-up of Ghostface. And,
obviously, what a surprise.
And the tagline is, it's always someone you know.
Okay.
So
it is. It is.
It is. So definitely some interesting theories got brought about. So yeah, I had fun theorizing. I like the tone of it. I like, we're in the modern day, so you have like some modern technology there. It looks like it's still Roger Jackson's voice, which I really liked. We have some characters named Carpenter as a nice nod to John Carpenter, and Halloween I think was a huge inspiration for Scream. And
Nightmare on Elm Street, if we're and Wes's slasher career.
Yes.
Really.
We actually have some characters named the Mackenzies, like Drive Down to the Mackenzies, which was a nod to Halloween, which was also said in the first Scream movie. So presumably the neighbors to Casey Becker.
The weird one slinging what a name that is.
Yes.
One slinging sharpshooter. That is exactly what I feel is going to happen at the end in Halloween.
Supernatural side.
Yes. Supernatural side of Michael. And
they definitely felt like they were setting that up for sure.
We're not sure how we feel about that. We're just not.
I know.
It's going to be a little bit weird.
Especially for the tone that they set up. It's just, I don't know. But we're getting into, Curse of Michael Myers vibes. So, so we're getting some familiar names, which I like. We also have Judy Hicks. Her son is in it, and her son's name is Wes. I like that. But Judy Hicks in Scream 2011, we did not see her with a son. So how does she have a teenage son or like a 20-something-year-old son? So that leads me to believe,
adoption.
Perhaps.
Hidden away because he's a murderer. I don't know.
Yes. So
he's actually Ghostface. Right?
Well, I've seen some theories that potentially he maybe Judy said she went to high school with Sidney. We know that Billy did not really love Sidney. This was all part of his sadistic plan to get revenge on her. So and how much he wanted to sleep with Sidney. So maybe he's hooked up with somebody else in high school, got that girl pregnant. Once Billy was exposed as a crazy serial killer, that kid was given up for adoption because Judy's like, this kid is the seed of evil. I don't want this kid. I'm giving him up. So maybe
Ghostface is actually the offspring of original Ghostface.
Perhaps. So maybe something like that happened. Maybe he's the love child. And Judy was really weird and sneaky with Sidney and awkward around her and like sneaking around. So maybe she felt guilt because she was the other woman. Maybe she feels like she was hiding something. So the way kind of Judy acted in certain scenes in Scream 4 could make sense to her having some involvement earlier on in the story. And we know they're not afraid to go back to the beginning and make those things be part of the story like they did with Scream 3.
You know what? It's easy for Scream, I think, as a slasher franchise because Ghostface isn't one person.
No, it's always different people every time.
So there's no kind of, it's not like, we've just talked for an hour and 20 minutes about Halloween Kills. And because Michael Myers is always Michael Myers. And
the fun of Scream is always kind of like the Scooby-Doo underlying thing with it, where it's like, who done it? Who's the killer this time?
Yeah, and
we got to figure this out. We got to follow these clues and these kinds of things, which always that's what I think makes Scream really fun and a little different than other slashers as well. Because you're Jason. You don't need to bring in any weird supernatural, bringing back from the grave, zombie this and that to have him continue on. Like,
well, to be fair, isn't Jason Voorhees literally
he's dead,
brought back from the grave lake monster anyway? So
yes, he's been resurrected and all kinds of crazy things. So Yeah, like it's always somebody different. So I love that they can do something like that. So who knows? Maybe Wes is the birth child of Billy Loomis or Stu. She could have slept with one of them in high school and given the child up, knowing what they've done. Maybe his adoptive parents died. Maybe he comes and finds her and she decides to take him in or whatever. Who knows? Because yeah, in 2011 she had no kid, or maybe she kept him hidden. Who knows?
Yeah.
And
Maybe
presumably
she did keep him hidden because she knew, and she didn't want him to get
have that stigma on him or whatever.
no,
So,
exactly.
or Billy's dad could have easily remarried and had kids of his own, and
also, do we not think it just makes total sense for Ghostface to be called Wes?
right?
I am fully behind this
Yes.
now being a thing.
Yes.
To the point where if this isn't what happens, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
Yes. So like I loved kind of hearing that theory. This YouTuber 3C Films, he kind of said that. I'm bringing in the whole ideas of like maybe giving him up or her keeping him hidden. Those are he didn't like go into like how that could be. He just kind of brought up the idea of maybe he is the love child of Judy and Billy from high school or something. So yeah, definitely highly plausible. And like I said, Billy's father could have remarried and had kids since the events of all of these things as well. So, one of these kids could be related to Billy's dad in some way. So yeah, and like there is a line in the movie that says we are all related to the killers. So are they related just in familial relation, or related as in they're just a part of somebody's life who had anything to do with those killers? So they keep it pretty vague. So I don't know.
Well, that's obviously what it was like in the first one, is that it was friends and a boyfriend. It was friend and a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So it wasn't familial.
No.
Well, it was to some people.
Yes. So they just said we're related to the killer. So it could mean a familial relation, like they are the offspring or the brother or sister of a killer, or they're just related in that, they are adjacent to people who have been a part of these killings and survived them and things. So very interesting. I liked that. How Dewey and Gail have been on and again, off again, even in Scream 3 when he proposed to her, he's like, we know, both of us know this isn't going to work, but let's just try. So it makes sense that they're kind of divorced, but like they also say that he watches her show that she does every morning, obviously, because he still loves her. So I liked that element. I love it. It looks like they're going to have things to do. So I'm really excited for that. I'm excited.
I'm very excited. Yes, I am very excited. You are the biggest Scream fan in the world. I am a Scream fan. Of course, I'm a Scream fan. But nobody is as big a Scream fan as you. I am very excited. I am very, very excited for this.
Yes, I think it's definitely going to be good. Radio Silence, I really loved Ready or Not, so I think they are going to get the tone. While this trailer was very serious, I feel like they're going to inject the humor where they need to inject it in the right places.
Bring the references in.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We know we're bringing references in. I think we already get a little scene of we all know the rules or something like that.
Well, no, I was going to mention that. Yeah. I actually watched Jamie Kennedy reacted to this trailer.
Okay.
And he, when Dewey got to the line, there are rules to surviving, he's like, oh my gosh, they used my line. Like he got so like fangirl excited that they like referenced his line. It was the cutest thing ever.
Scream's built itself on his being referential and knowing the rules, and that is Scream. That's why it was revolutionary. That's why it literally saved fun horror.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm like, I want to see how they're going to interject the comedy, because Ready or Not was definitely a great balance of scare and comedy. It was great. It was hilarious. And the tone.
And you know what? Ready or Not had campiness to it.
Yes, it was so fun. So I think if anybody is going to take this out of Wes's hands, since he cannot do it, they are a great fit. So I'm excited about that. I believe Kevin Williamson is still involved in some way. So I'm excited for that. That our 3 leads are back.
And David Arquette looks good as well. Like David Arquette,
he does. He still has the mustache, but he also
well.
has kind of like more than just the mustache. So yeah, and I feel like people
doesn't look any different either. Obviously,
no, she looks great. I think, and I like that, you know, people think that maybe some of the kills have been spoiled, but Dewey just says, you know, there have been 3 attacks, so it's plausible people have been attacked and not actually killed.
There's going to be more than there's going to be plenty of this is Scream.
Yes, red herring things and all. It
might Ghostface in the movies or the Ghostface killers, I suppose we have to call them, have not had the body count of a Michael or a Jason.
No, the first movie, only 7 people died in the first movie.
They do not kill a massive amount of people. They are not brutal maniacs.
And if you go through
rampaging killers,
but if you go through, people are killed for a reason. They killed the principal. They killed the principal.
People.
Yes, they killed the principal so they could have a distraction to get everybody out of the party. It seemed like Billy killed Tatum to get her out of the way because he knew that she wouldn't let him talk to Sydney, and he needed to get her up to the bedroom and, you know, do all of that.
Well, this is the difference. This is the difference, is that your other slasher icons, shall we say, Freddy Krueger, I suppose, a different story, or also Wes Craven, because Freddy technically does kill specific people because it's the children of the people who burned him.
Yes.
Okay. But Michael doesn't care who he kills. Okay, depending on what storyline you watch. God, we've already been over that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he doesn't care who he kills. Jason Voorhees certainly doesn't care who he kills.
No.
Leatherface doesn't care who he kills. But the Ghostface killers kill precisely the people they want to.
Yes.
And nobody else.
It's been about playing these games with Sydney for those first kind of 3. So of course he's going to kill people in her sphere, in her bubble, to get her attention. So, you know, there's always a purpose. So I think that's what kind of makes it a little bit different as well than other ones. And yes, I agree. The ending was very kind of sloppy and thrown together with
Halloween. Oh yes, it was. Yes, Halloween kills. Yes, it was.
I think we kind of delved into that a little bit, but yes, I am very excited for Scream 5. Another weird naming convention happening here, but
just calling it Scream.
Yes. Also, there had been a lot of talk that like Kirby because people she was like a fan favorite character from Scream 4. We see her get stabbed, but people think, oh, maybe she survived. So maybe in some way Kirby's coming back. She's the killer. Maybe she's working with someone involved, but like she wasn't really meant to be the killer in that movie. She was like a good guy in that movie for the most part. So yeah, people loved that character and would love Hayden Panettiere to come back. So who knows if she'll just be a surprise kind of pop up that had something to do with this movie.
I remember liking Scream 4. I did only see it once, but I remember liking it.
Yes, you should watch it and watch kind of how Judy Hicks is with Sydney, because I think they do things I don't think there was a plan with Judy Hicks to but maybe they saw how she acted in that movie and decided to use that. So potentially look at how Judy acts around Sydney and see if that could be a choice that they used to play into things later, because she acts very weird. And now she's the new sheriff as Dewey has retired.
Yeah.
So
he's not old enough for retirement.
Well, I mean, he's retired from being the sheriff. So who knows what he's
wallowing in his misery.
Yes, he has very harsh 5 o'clock shadow. He looks very depressed and
it's not. I shouldn't laugh at poor Deputy Judy.
Yes.
We all like him. He's great.
We do. That's why they survived. Hell, he got stabbed in the back 2 different movies, and they still kept him living. So
Everybody
he was supposed to be dead at the end, but test screenings did not like that. So that's why they did just make him have severed nerve and come back.
Okay, there you go.
So
yes, I am very excited for Scream 5 as well. Like you said before, I always like it when horror movies play around with developments in technology.
yeah,
Because that's what horror is. Horror has to keep up with the times it's produced in.
No, so it's still, I think it's still going off. People were kind of trying to say it was like they weren't calling it a reboot, they weren't calling it a remake, but it's kind of its own thing. But you can't really have that with these legacy characters coming back and all of that.
No, it's
and we see Stu Macher's house and all of these things, and people knowing who Sydney is, and her even using the line, "I'm Sydney Prescott, of course I have a gun." So I'm pretty sure this is just the 5th movie in the 4. Years later, it's still connected to the first 4 films.
Now, it doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be.
Yeah, because when it first came out, people were saying that, though. People were saying it's not a sequel, it's not a reboot. Like, they were saying it's not a reboot, but it's also not really a sequel, and they were kind of trying to say it was its own thing. But once the new cast got signed up, so maybe that's what it was until they officially signed the 3.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
But from what I can tell, from what I've heard, it looks like it's the 5th movie in the 4, connected to the other 4 films.
Ghostface is also one of the Halloween costumes I've actually done in the last like 8 years.
Do you even have pictures?
I don't go out and dress up for Halloween. Halloween in my house is exclusively Morgan watching movies. I don't go out and do. I love Halloween. I obviously love Halloween, but I love Halloween for horror movies and decoration, not for going out and people. But I did once do a ghost face.
Do you have pictures?
Probably not.
Okay.
I've still got the costumes, so I could put it on if you want.
Oh yeah, we should.
If you want to do a Scream watch along,
yes,
and have me dressed as Ghostface,
I would like that.
We can do that.
Okay, I'll dress up as Casey Becker. Get my blonde wig.
Perfect.
That'll be fun.
Perfect.
I'll wear a sweater and everything. Have my
popcorn. I can't do the voice though. I can't do the voice.
Roger Jackson is classic.
I really can't. It'd just be Ghostface, but me. Hello.
Hello. I'm
What's your favorite movie?
What's your favorite scary movie? No.
Do you want to know what? Are you a fan of Vincent Price at all? He says over the phone.
No, that's terrible.
And Casey Becker goes, "Who?" And Ghostface goes, "That's why I'm going to kill you."
You don't know Vincent Price.
You idiot.
Terrible.
And that's Morgan as Ghostface.
Love it. Well, hopefully we can do that and have you dress up. It'd be very fun.
Exciting.
Before spooky season is out, we need to do a watch along on this channel of something really fun.
Definitely. I think that's a good idea as well.
Yes.
I think that would be a good idea. Okay. Well, fun stuff. Horror film discussion tonight or today, Janine. Halloween, Scream, excitement.
Yes.
And also questionableness. But there'll be links in the description, I think. However, Twitter. What was I going to say? I was going to do the plugs, but I'm never quite sure how to do the plugs on the video. I don't know why. The It's a Wonderful podcast feed is a thing. That's the main thing. Everywhere podcasts can be found. Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, all the other places. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed. Machine Mondays, every Monday with Janine talking all the Schmodown stuff. Morgan hasn't seen every Wednesday with us talking movies that I haven't seen. Janine forces me to watch movies. It's all very fun. It's ghostly season at the minute on the shows, on the feed, really. And we're doing ghost movies on Morgan Hasn't Seen, specifically.
Yes.
Friday is the main show every week. It's a wonderful podcast. It's also ghostly season there. We give love to older movies on the main show. That is our realm that we like to get into there. Discovering old movies, celebrating old movies. And we're talking ghost movies all October there as well. So yes, you can find It's a Wonderful Podcast on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at the Purple Don with the 3 instead of the E in the because, Janine.
3 is the magic number.
On Instagram at just the Purple Don. We also have the It's a Wonderful Podcast Patreon. If you would like to support us over there, just go to patreon.com/It's a Wonderful One. Find the tier that's right for you, but particularly check out the shows. If you've never checked out the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed, whole bunch of stuff going on there. I mean, the podcast feed itself now is coming up to 4 years old in January.
Wow.
So we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
It's always, for October's always a fun time as well.
Yes, we
All the
definitely, I think
shows.
our best shows are in October. We talk some really fun movies. I get to, as you being a big horror fan, I love like getting the opportunity to show you new horror and new kind of movies in that vein that you haven't seen. So, yeah, October is our very favorite time of year to talk movies. So yeah, check out what we have going on all October long. Yeah. And we might even creep into November because we
always
spooky season to end.
We always just go straight through November and then it's just Christmas movies.
Yes.
Janine, all your wonderful stuff is where?
You can find me at Janine Devine _ on Twitter, Janine Devine on Instagram. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows or check out any of my artwork, you can find all of that at my TeePublic shop at G9 Design on teepublic.com.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much, guys, for hanging out. We'll be back very soon.
Yes.
Much like the Terminator, but not as aggressively.
Definitely.
Hopefully. Not. Unless it's something we hate, but we never hate things. We like loving things. That's the goal. In life, I don't know. I'm going weird. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks
for hanging out with us.
Hanging out with us, for sure.
Until next time. Janine, your best Ghostface voice, I guess?
No, I'm not good at Ghostface either.
Or alternatively, your impression of Dr. Sam Loomis?
No.
Also be worthwhile.
I would think my Ghostface is probably better than my Dr. Loomis, but neither are good. I always thought you were going to tell me just to do Michael Myers.
Michael Myers' voice?
And I could just sit there.
I would also like to point out that they are definitely going to make a point of doing a reveal of Michael Myers' face in Halloween Kills, and I am not about that.
We saw enough of his face in 78. We saw enough of his face, his profile and thing in 18. I think they handled his face perfectly in 18 as well.
They do.
To remind us that he's 60.
In this one, they came dangerously damn close
to just be right on his face. Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Mm-mm.
Michael Myers has the face of a white Shatner mask, and we all know he does.
And I will
have another face,
and I think it plays well.
Yes. Okay.
And I want it to play like the only time we've seen his face is as a child, like
properly. Yeah.
I
don't know. Whatever they're gonna do, it's gonna be. I don't think a lot of people are gonna like it, but they're doing it. They got the contract. You didn't. So stop being so mad about it and try and make your own Halloween.
The ones I like, and that's fine.
I'll just watch the ones you like. Exactly.
Yes. Okay, I will do my best Michael Myers impression.
Okay. I'm going to do my best Michael Myers impression, but like in a stabby way in a minute.
Bye.